Big Male coming back up. What you got, sir?
The idea that because you have a spouse who has strongly held opinions about a topic, that you now have to recuse.
Okay, go ahead.
And this is, there's not a specific case that they're even talking to. They're just kind of generally, they want to get rid of Justice Thomas. And here's why. There's a lot of important cases coming down the pike. They are worried they're going to lose some of them, whether it's the Dobbs case on abortion, whether it's the Second Amendment case, the Supreme Court.
Okay, Romans 13 and verse 1.
Romans 13 and verse 1. Romans 13
And verse 1.
Yes.
There's something about the ordinance or something. Powers. Okay.
Yeah, I'm not really understanding what's going on here. I mean, I kind of have an idea what it might be, but I just want to make sure.
Yeah.
I'm thinking maybe might be powers of God or something. Every soul be subject unto the higher powers. I was thinking like, well, all the humans on earth be subject to those powers. That's what I'm thinking, but I don't know. I just wanted to make sure.
Yeah, we'll take a look at it. That's why we got to go ahead. 13.
And verse 1. Let every soul be subject unto the higher powers, for there is no power but of God. The powers that be are ordained of God.
Okay, so that's pretty direct. So it's not talking about God specifically in this instance, but it is talking about God. You know what I mean? Because God is ultimately in control of everybody, everything. So what it's going to let us know is that even the government, see, that's why the Lord teach us to, just follow man's rules. Follow man's rules and follow those who are in charge. Like we got presidents and governors in this country, mayors. The Lord, you got police. He's telling you, follow the rules because, hey, they only in place because of God. So when he said, let every soul be subject to the higher powers, that's really talking about the authorities. That's who that's talking about, the authority, the government. He said, be subject to the higher powers, for there's no power but of God. The powers that be, the government, the police, everybody, are ordained by God. So it's telling you he's the one set it up. He's the one set it up. So, and some Hebrews, they might get mad. And other people too. You got Gentiles too. I ain't following what they say. They can't tell me nothing. I'm, just like, you had the thing recently. Some Hebrews grabbed hold of that. It's been around a while. It's called, the sovereign thing. The sovereign thing. They're saying, well, we sovereign. You ain't got to pay no taxes. You ain't got to do that. We sovereign. And you be sovereign in jail. Especially Israel. Israel, the last one going to get away with that. Yeah, so Israel done tried it, and Israel done been locked up. So that's what he's letting you know. Now, the only time, and you have to be willing to suffer the consequences, the only time that it would be permissible to go against the powers that be if they got some wickedness that they got in play, in force, and want you to do it. Like the brothers did. They went against the powers that be. They didn't show no big disrespect, but it was taken as disrespect. But they wasn't just against Nebuchadnezzar in Daniel 3rd chapter. It's just like, we do what you say do, except when you tell us to do something against God. You telling us to bow down to a statue, they said, we ain't doing that one now. We ain't going to do that. That's what the mark of the beast's going to be about. You don't have to follow no unlawful laws made by the state. You supposed to obey God. So that's what he means. He said, so it's really letting you know is you obey the governments, the authorities that's over you, and don't be anti the authorities because God got them there. Let every soul be subject to the higher powers, for there is no power but of God. The powers that be are ordained by God. Verse 2.
Whosoever therefore resists the power, resisteth the ordinance of God, and they that resist shall receive to themselves damnation.
That's right. You resisting the way God got it set up. Verse 3.
For rulers are not a terror to good works.
See, he's talking about rulers, leaders. See, and they not a terror to good works. Normally they not. They not a terror to good works. Just like we can operate, we do try to do serve the Lord, do our thing. They don't really, for the most part, they don't care. They like, hey, go ahead. They ain't doing nothing wrong. So, until when times get harder, we know what's going to happen. But overall, they ain't worried about it. Rulers are not a terror to good works, but what?
But to evil.
But
to the evil. Would thou then not be afraid of the power?
Go ahead.
Do that which is good, and thou shalt have praise of the same.
That's right. Now skip down to verse 6, because he even get a little more in depth with this thing. Go ahead.
For this cause pay ye tribute also.
See, that's like taxes. For this cause pay ye tribute also. Even Jesus paid tribute. They tried to get Jesus to, to see if he going to go against Caesar. That's the way it's set up. He God. But he still, we do that just so we be in line. That's the way to do it. He said, for this cause pay ye tribute also. Go ahead.
For they are God's ministers, attending continually upon this very thing. Render therefore to all their dues.
Therefore to all their dues. Go ahead.
Tribute to whom tribute is due.
Tribute to whom tribute. Go ahead.
Custom to whom custom.
Custom to whom custom.
Fear to whom fear.
Fear to whom fear.
Honor to whom honor.
Honor to whom honor. And you could do that. Long as it's not crossing the line of serving the Lord, you can do that. Now let's look at what Jesus did in Matthew 22. Matthew 22. Because this is when they tried to set him up with this. Matthew 22. Matthew 22. We tried to ask Jesus a trick question. Verse 15. That's funny. Matthew 22, verse 15. Go ahead.
Then went the Pharisees and took counsel how they might entangle him in his talk. And they sent out unto him their disciples with the Herodians, saying, Master, we know that thou art true, and teachest the way of God in truth. Neither carest thou for any man, for thou regardest not the person of men.
So they tried to set him up, but go ahead.
Tell us therefore, what thinkest thou? Is it lawful to give tribute unto Caesar or not?
They say, is it lawful to give tribute unto Caesar or not? Yes or no? Is it lawful to give tribute unto Caesar? Go ahead.
Matthew 22 and 17. Tell us therefore, tell us therefore, what thinkest thou? Is it lawful to give tribute unto Caesar or not? But Jesus perceived their wickedness and said, why tempt ye me, ye hypocrites?
He said, why you tempt me, you hypocrites? But he knew, and they probably knew because he already had addressed it. See, that's why when you know the Bible, a lot of stuff come up because it came up already. They didn't got wind of it, so, more than likely, so they ask a question because they kind of know which way he's leaning, and they're going to try to make him look bad. Because at this point, he already then paid tribute. So they kind of know where he's going. But I guess they're going to think they're going to make him look bad. Because they set him up with the question saying, Master. And they got, they got, the Herodians there. We know you true, you teach God, and you don't care about no man. You ain't worried about no man. So we ain't going to be paying. Basically, they trying to get them to say, we ain't got to pay no tribute, dude. But they asked the question. Tell us, therefore, what thinkest thou? Is it lawful to give tribute unto Caesar or not? So Jesus responded in verse 18. He perceived their wickedness first and said, why tempt ye me, ye hypocrites? 19.
Show me the tribute money.
He said, show me the money. Show me the money that y'all talking about. Jesus just cut to the chase. Let's deal with what we talking about. Where the money at? Go ahead. Okay.
And they brought unto him a penny.
And they brought a penny to him. They brought the penny to him. Jesus got the penny. He said, show me the money. They brought the penny. He looking at the penny. Okay. Now what did he say? Go ahead.
And he said unto them, whose is this image and superscription?
He said, now whose image is it? You know, like they have images on. They got, you know, dollar bills. They got Abraham Lincoln. They got images on money to this day. So nothing new, nothing unheard of that we not used to. So he got it. He said, whose image is this? And whose superscription is this? Who is this? Go ahead, 21.
They say unto him, Caesar's.
They said to him, that's Caesar. What Jesus say?
Then said he unto them, render therefore unto Caesar the things which are Caesar's, and unto God the things that are God's.
See, so Jesus let it be known it's okay to pay tribute. He's like, look, you honor. Because you honoring, back to the scripture, Romans 13:1, you honoring the powers that be. You honoring them. You recognizing that, hey, God got him. So Jesus did it. He was God in the flesh, and he like, hey, render therefore unto Caesar the things that are Caesar. Even though he going to take over from Caesar and the whole world when he come back, he going to be King of kings and Lord of lords. But he respect the order. That's the problem with Israel. Israel don't respect no order. You got people come here and they talk stuff about something they don't even know about here, talking stuff. He said, render therefore to Caesar the things which are Caesar, and unto God the things which are God. Go ahead, 22.
When they had heard these words, they marveled and left him and went their way.
Go to Matthew 17. Back up a little bit more. Matthew 17. Matthew 17.
Entry stacks up against some of those other ones. But this one is just a joy. It is a joy to watch. It's a joy.
Pick it up at 22.
And while they abode in Galilee, Jesus said unto them, the Son of Man shall be betrayed into the hands of men, and they shall kill him. And the third day he should be raised again. And they were exceeding sorry. And when they were coming to...
So he knew exactly what was going to happen in the end. Go ahead.
And when they had come to Capernaum, they that received tribute money came to Peter and said, does not your master pay tribute?
So now, this is where this came up already. They ones that say this collected tribute, so they already know what's in the water. So the ones that's working for the man, they said, hey, Peter, don't your master, do he pay tribute? What's up with that? You know, he too special for that? Okay. And so Peter answered without really even checking with Jesus because he's scared. He's like, damn, they try to come down on us. So, does your master pay tribute? So what Peter said, what verse, 25?
He said, yes. And when he was coming into the house.
No, he said, yeah. He said, yeah, we about it. Ain't nothing wrong with it. He said, yes. And when he was coming to the house, he ain't even said nothing to Jesus about
Right.
it. They asked about Jesus. He answered for Jesus. Go ahead.
Jesus prevented him, saying, what thinkest thou, Simon?
Of course, Jesus be knowing. Go ahead.
Of whom do the kings of the earth take custom or tribute? Or of their own children, or of strangers? Peter said unto him, of strangers. Jesus said unto him, then are the children free.
So he asked him, you know, well, who do the kings of the earth take custom from? Their own children or strangers. So ordinarily, yeah, it's meant for other people because it's for them. So Peter said, well, strangers. Jesus said, okay, then the children free. But then he said, okay, 27.
Notwithstanding, lest we should offend them.
Lest we should offend them, do what?
Go down to the sea.
Go to the sea and what?
And cast and hook, and take up the fish that first cometh up. And when thou hast opened his mouth, thou shalt find a piece of money.
Go ahead.
That take and give unto them for me and thee.
See, Jesus was cold with it. He said, look, we're going to pay tribute. Go down there to the fish. Go down there. The first fish you hook, go in his mouth. It's going to be some money in there. Go pay our tax. Go pay our taxes. Me and you. So, but that show you Jesus wasn't anti the establishment or the government. He was with following, you know, lawful commands. Now, of course, he wasn't going to do nothing that nobody told him, Satan, the government, that would make him sin against God. He wasn't going to do that. Nobody should have to do that. You don't have to obey that. So hopefully that answers that one. And let's see. Go ahead. You come up now. We'll check. Because we back up, right? Go ahead. You can come up, Tim. He got the mic. He's going to give it to you.
Attention, if you've had hernia surgery and have experienced complications such as chronic pain, infection, wound reopening, mesh migration, bowel obstruction, need revision surgery, or other complications, you may be entitled to significant cash compensation. Hernia repair surgery is common and requires a mesh product to be implanted inside your body. In May of 2016, the manufacturer of a popular hernia mesh product issued a mandatory global recall due to product defects. If you've had hernia surgery and have experienced complications, you may be entitled to significant
Why
cash
is it easy for
compensation.
children?
Hernia Mesh Helpline now at 800-674-4932. Our experienced attorneys will fight to get you the compensation you deserve. You pay nothing unless we get a recovery in your favor. Time is limited to file a claim, so call the Hernia Mesh Helpline now. 800-674-4932. Operators are standing by 24/7. Call 800-674-4932. That's 800-674-4932. There's nothing like hearing the songs you love on local radio with no subscriptions and no monthly fees. But there's a new bill in Congress that...
What you mean? What about the...
This bill would tax your local radio
Oh, the previous question?
to play the music you love.
Okay.
Text local to 52886 and ask Congress to support local radio stations. Help us keep you connected to the music, local news, weather, and traffic that you need each day. This message furnished by the National Association of Broadcasters.
You can't live forever, but your legacy can. At Catholic Cemeteries of Chicago, they've helped families set their legacies in stone.
Okay, that's a
over
good question.
180 years. With interest
So that was a question before because we had the
is the time to set your final plans in place. Visit CatholicCemeteryChicago.org
question about Romans
or call
13. But it's the same thing that we always understand. A lot of times, man don't wait for God, and that plays into God's plan. So, for instance, let's go back to Genesis 18. Go back to Genesis 18. So we could trust God. We could say we trust God and a woman, in this case, a woman. But see, you got to realize when you're on the ground or when you're in the thick of it or when you're dealing with the situation, you know, and God will allow it. People try to see if they can figure it out. If they can figure it out, you know. And they don't know, maybe the Lord is allowing them to do something else. So I said 18, I really mean 16. Genesis 16:1. Genesis 16:1. So this is way before Jacob and Leah and Rachel and Bilhah and Zilpah were ever thought of, but it's the same scenario because it just keeps repeating itself. 16:1. Genesis 16:1. Go ahead.
Now, Sarai, Abram's wife, bare him no children. And she had a handmaid, an Egyptian, whose name was Hagar. And Sarai said unto Abram, Behold now, the Lord have restrained me from bearing.
Okay, so she know the Lord had restrained her from bearing. She know that. She know the Lord in control. She's smart enough to know that. She's a little smarter than Jacob, wife, Rachel, who gonna come at him talking, give me children, else I die. So, yeah, she knew better. She was just frustrated. She was just frustrated at the time. So, it said, Sarah, Abraham's wife, bare him no children. And she had a handmaid Egyptian whose name is Hagar. Verse 2, read that again.
And Sarai said unto Abram, Behold, now the Lord hath restrained me from bearing. I pray thee, go in unto my maid. It may be that I may obtain children by her.
So that stuff with Rachel and Leah, Rachel and her maid, that wasn't nothing new. This happening right here. So the question would be, well, why Sarah do that? Why Sarah didn't wait on the Lord? Because, hey, the Lord give you means if you try to figure it out. Wasn't nothing illegal with this. God didn't never say nothing to him about it. God didn't never say, why you didn't trust me and just wait? You know, and you let Hagar have him. That wasn't supposed to be. God didn't never say that wasn't supposed to be. Because God let you get down how you get down. So Sarah decided to do that, but that wasn't going to be the fulfillment of God's plan.
Right.
And she knew God was the one. But she looking at, you know, again, you on the ground in the situation. It's like, well, I don't know. Look like God ain't going to give me no children. So I want you to have children. So, yeah, Abraham, take Hagar, my maid, the Egyptian, and that I may attain children by her. You marry her. And Abram hearkened to the voice of Sarai. Verse 3.
And Sarai, Abram's wife, took Hagar, her maid, the Egyptian, after Abram had dwelt 10 years in the land of Canaan, and gave her to her husband, Abram, to be his wife.
Okay, so now he got another wife. He got Hagar. And again, they looking at it for population because she want her reproach to be taken away. She can't have no children. So she want to have a child from Abraham, at least kind of like what they call that surrogate now. She want to have a child through Hagar because she the boss of Hagar. Hagar is her maid. And verse 4, let's see what happened.
And he went in unto Hagar.
So Abraham laid with Hagar. Go ahead.
And she conceived.
And she got pregnant. Go ahead. That's usually what happened. Go ahead.
And when she saw that she had conceived, her mistress was despised in her eyes.
And there go the flesh jumping in because she was blessed to get a part of this situation. Now she got big-headed. She a part of the situation. She didn't have nothing at first, no man. But now Sarah done brought her in, and she got pregnant. Now she looking at Sarah funny. What you still doing here? I'm the one I'm putting out over here. She said her mistress was despised in her eyes. And of course, Sarah didn't like that. So that became a problem. But the whole thing was, go to the 18th chapter now of Genesis, 17. 17. Genesis 17. Pick it up at verse 15. Go ahead and read it.
And God said to Abraham, As for Sarai thy wife, thou shalt not call her name Sarai, but Sarah shall her name be. And I will bless her, and give thee a son also of her. Yea, I will bless her, and she shall be a mother of nations. Kings of people shall be of her. Then Abraham fell upon his face and laughed, and said in his heart, Shall a child be born unto him that is 100 years old? Mm-hmm. And shall Sarah that is 90 years old bear?
So now after Hagar had Ishmael, the Lord telling them, look, y'all, you know, I'm still going to give Sarah a child. So again, yeah, God is the one that take away reproach. But that don't stop people from, you know, trying to figure it out themselves. But go ahead.
And Abraham said unto God, Oh, that Ishmael might live before thee.
And who was Ishmael? That was Hagar's son that Abraham had already had. So Abraham was cool now. He content. He content. He like, you know, the Lord blessed me with a son, because that's his son through Hagar, the Egyptian woman, Ishmael, which is where our brothers, the Arabs, come from. So he like, oh, Lord, just let Ishmael, you know, I'm good. Because he's like, God talking about Sarah gonna have a child. I don't know about that. Sarah, old now. See, they think it is. They acting like it's something too hard for God. But again, you ain't never seen. We don't see no 90-year-olds giving birth now. So we'll think the same way. Somebody 89, God said you gonna have a baby next year. Be like, please, you better go adopt somebody, Abraham, if you want somebody. Call that young woman. That's really what was going on. But go ahead.
And God said, Sarah thy wife shall bear thee a son indeed.
God said, look, I'm telling you, Sarah, your wife gonna bear you a son indeed. I ain't playing. Go ahead.
And thou shalt call his name Isaac.
And his name is going to be Isaac. Go ahead.
And I will establish my covenant with him.
That's who the covenant with. You know, Ishmael is okay, but he's just not the one. Right. Go ahead.
For an everlasting covenant.
Uh-huh.
And with his seed after him.
Uh-huh, 20.
And as for Ishmael, I have heard thee. Uh-huh. Behold, I have blessed him.
He said, I blessed Ishmael too. He your son. I know that. Go ahead.
And I will make him fruitful and will multiply him exceedingly. 12 princes shall he beget, and I will make him a great nation.
Uh-huh.
But my covenant will I establish with Isaac, which Sarah shall bear unto thee at this set time in the next year.
Uh-huh.
And he left off talking with him, and God went up from Abraham.
Uh-huh. So now we might as well cut to when that happened. Let's skip over to 18 and pick it up.
On her platform. Today is one of those days. Headline is the takeover of America's legal system.
21.
Didn't grow out of it.
21.
21 and 1. Yeah. Go ahead.
Who's a journalist, and she begins with a little note.
And the Lord visited Sarah as he had said, and the Lord did unto Sarah as he had spoken. Mm-hmm. For Sarah conceived and bare Abraham a son in his old age. Mm-hmm. And at the set time in which God had spoken to him, and Abraham called the name of his son that was born unto him, whom Sarah bare to him Isaac.
Okay.
And Abraham circumcised his son Isaac, being 8 days old, as God had commanded him. Mm-hmm. And Abraham was 100 years old when his son Isaac was born unto him. Mm-hmm. And Sarah said, God hath made me to laugh, so that all that I hear will laugh with me.
Mm-hmm. See, and now, hey, her reproach is taken away. But she had tried another way at first. She didn't just wait on this. And that was a blessing from the Lord still, because the Lord, hey, he said he was going to bless Ishmael too, who Sarah allowed that to happen. But she allowed it to happen because she was trying to give Abraham a seed, which he didn't have. So it ended up being a double blessing, but the Lord rewarded her. See, the Lord reward people, especially, she showed she wasn't selfish. She was willing to allow, because women wouldn't want to do that at all. It'd be like, Negro, you're going to be childless. That's the way they'd be. You know, it'd be like, well, look, can I, you will be childless. Let the record stay. You know, because Sarah volunteered. Sarah knew the importance of Abraham having a seed. He didn't have no children. She, his wife, she can't do it. She like, oh, I can't do this. All right, well, take Hagar. Ain't no woman going to do that today. That show you the women, the mindset got to change. I'm serious. The mindset got to change. Because that's just selfish. You thinking about you. Sarah wasn't thinking about it. That's why the Lord blessed her.
Right.
She was thinking about the big picture. I need to get this man a child. I can't get one. Take Hagar and marry. The women be like, see, that wasn't good. They start arguing. I ain't doing it. But it still turned out to be a blessing because the Lord said, I'm going to bless Ishmael. A great nation going to come of him. Same scenario with Jacob, Leah, and Rachel, and all of that. Rachel did the same thing. She allowed Jacob to marry her maid. He had a couple of sons by her. Then the Lord looked at her and said, okay, I'm going to go ahead and bless her. I'm going to take away her reproach. Because still, that didn't really take away her reproach. It gave her a little something to hold on to. But physically having a child, like the Lord blessed Sarah. She said, the Lord that made me to laugh so that all that were here would laugh with me, having a son at 90. Verse 7.
And she said, Who would have said unto Abraham, that Sarah should have given children suck? For I bore him a son in his old age.
Verse 8.
And the child grew and was weaned. And Abraham made a great feast the same day that Isaac was weaned.
Okay, so that's good. So hopefully that answered that. That's what it is. You know, they knew God was the one to take away reproach, but at the same time, it was you know, them trying to do something else. That's it. That's it. Put the mic up for now. We got too many people waiting. One at a time. We okay. We good. You want water? You good? Yeah, I got one. You want? I think I got one. We good.
You got water, I'll take a water bottle.
Okay. All right. I can't get to Facebook still. You see something?
Yeah, I'll go to Facebook.
I tried.
No, you got some water? I got it.
You got it.
All right. Peace, Brother Curtis. Peace, Sister Crystal. Peace, Sister Terry. Sister Felicia. Sister Cheryl.
Tavia, Christopher. That's something we wanted from earlier.
Yeah, we ain't got no questions.
All right, go back to YouTube. Savannah, Sabbath lesson. Thesis.
That did not happen, Sabarian writes. Instead, the undergraduates clung to their ideas about justice and injustice. They became medical students and law students. Then 2020 happened. All of a sudden, critical race theory was more than
Let's see.
mainstream
First question.
in America's law schools.
Brother Norlis Tapes. Peace, Brother Norlis Tapes. Peace, relax, calm down, and chill.
Questioning the law's neutrality and assessing its differential
Get
effects
through
on
all the
subordinated groups.
gibberish.
That's according to university documents obtained by Common Sense.
All right. Norlis Tapes has the first question back on YouTube.
Okay.
Is the serpent in Isaiah 66 and 25 Satan? Because the verse is talking about God restoring the animals back to their pre-flood diet. So it can't be him.
66 and 25. Serpent gonna be the dust. Will be the serpent's meat, something like that. Is it 66?
Yeah, Isaiah 66 and
I thought
25.
it was 60.
No, he said 60. No, 65. 65.
Yeah. He did.
I said 66.
Okay, I was about to
There
say.
ain't no 25 verse in 66.
Yeah, I didn't think so. That's what I was like. That seemed my eye.
The tenured professor who identifies as a liberal. I can't do that anymore. I have a family. The implication being he fears for his job because he understands what the mob is capable of. The story goes on. Other law professors also asked me not to identify their institution, their area of expertise, or even their state of
65.
residence, or similarly terrified. Here's one who goes on the record. Nadine Strawson, the first woman to head the ACLU and a professor at New York Law School, told me, quote, I massively self-censor. I assume that every single thing that is said, every facial gesture, is going to be recorded and potentially
Isaiah 65 and 25.
Let's read it.
The wolf and the lamb shall feed together, and the lion shall eat straw like the bullock, and the dust shall be the serpent's meat. They shall not hurt nor destroy in all my holy mountain, saith the Lord.
Okay. So, so the question is, and a lot of times, you know, scripture can be, it can be a little confusing sometimes because things cut both ways. Sometimes you could be talking in parables. The Bible got parables, analogies, and then it has direct, you know, references. So that's why this question is here. What's that question again? Is the serpent
Is
what?
the serpent, is that Satan?
Is that Satan? So,
Yeah.
so that's the question. We just read it. Isaiah 65 and 25. Is that referring to Satan? I don't know what he said after that. Was he saying it was? Or he thought it was?
He said what?
Yeah, no, it's not. It's not talking about Satan. So you have to identify. You have to just keep it in context what the Lord is dealing with. See, but we know enough to know that there are serpent references to Satan. We know scripture. We got scripture to show that Satan is that old serpent. But that don't mean every time we see serpent, it's going to be referring to Satan, because there is a serpent. There's a literal serpent. So you just got to keep it in context and read it as it stands. See, the reason why I know this is a real serpent, really just by, we could read more, but just by reading verse 25, he's talking about literal animals in the verse. He said the wolf and the lamb, he's talking about a real wolf and a real lamb, will feed. The lion shall eat straw like the bullock. He's talking about lions and bulls.
Right.
And then he said, and dust shall be the serpent's meat. He ain't jet spirit. He could have. He could do what he wants to, but he just didn't. He didn't jet spiritual on us. No, he's talking about it's going to be so much peace, brothers and sisters, when Jesus come back and establish this 1,000 years of peace, that even the animals won't trip on one another. And one thing you have to worry about now, I didn't really, living in the city, growing up in the city, I'm not, I spent some summers down south. I couldn't wait to get away from that. So I wasn't around, situations where I had to worry about a serpent getting bit.
Right.
But I remember me and my wife, we went on vacation. We was in Florida at her brother's house years ago, and I think Elijah Ben, he was a little boy. And this is in Jacksonville, Florida. And he's like, Elijah Ben, we like, there's a bunch of grass out there. He said, yeah, you got to be careful out there. They might get bit by a snake. I'm like, what the world? So that's a problem. Even though we don't experience it in the city, that's a problem. Obviously, we heard of people getting bit and killed with snake bites, right? The Lord is like, we can't have that happening in the kingdom.
Right.
Matter of fact, that's why I calls the devil a serpent, because it's showing how crafty and sneaky he is and how he will, sneak up on you and bite you. That's what it's showing. So, and if you read a little bit more here, it's just telling you how good it is in this chapter. Let's back up since we're here in 65. What he doing here? 65 and 17. Go ahead.
For behold, I create new heavens and a new earth, and the former shall not be remembered, nor come into mind. But be ye glad and rejoice forever in that which I create.
He said, I create new heavens and a new earth, and the former shall not be remembered, nor come into mind. It's going to be so good, you ain't going to remember that old bad stuff, which we're living in bad times, hard times now. But once he creates new heavens and a new earth, it's going to be good. And it's going to begin, the beginning of this newness, brothers and sisters, which is a good time we talk about it. We're at the beginning of the year.
Right.
But the beginning of this newness is when Jesus comes back. That's the beginning of it. That's when this peace is going to be ushered in. Verse 18.
But be ye glad and rejoice forever in that which I create.
Be ye glad and rejoice forever in that which I create. Go ahead.
For behold, I create Jerusalem a rejoicing, and her people a joy.
Jerusalem a rejoicing? That's it. No fight. They got killing over there right now. Somebody getting killed. Murder, death, kill going on. Jerusalem and the rest of the world. But at this time, no. I create Jerusalem a rejoicing and her people a joy. Verse 19.
And I will rejoice in Jerusalem, and joy in my people. And the voice of weeping should be no more heard in her, nor the voice of crying. There should be no more thence an infant of days, nor an old man that have not filled his days. For the child should die 100 years old, but the sinner, being 100 years old, should be accursed.
See, longevity going to be reinstituted. Children, you'll be a child if you died 100. You'd be considered a little child.
Right.
Spring chicken, died too young. Go ahead.
And they should build houses and inhabit them. And they should plant vineyards and eat the fruit of them. They should not build and another inhabit. They should not plant and another eat. For as the days of a tree are the days of my people.
And it's going to be all good, in other words. As the days of a tree shall be the days of my people. Might as well finish it. Go ahead.
And mine elect shall long enjoy the work of their hands. They shall not labor in vain,
Not no more. Go ahead.
nor bring forth for trouble.
Right now, women have children, they end up getting killed in the street. That means they brought forth for trouble. Be crying at the funeral home over a baby that brought so much joy when it was born. You wasn't thinking that far. You couldn't imagine that. But the Lord tell you, we've been bringing forth for trouble. But at this time, it won't happen no more. You ain't gonna have to see no woman on TV crying because her 18-year-old got shot dead in the street by the police or by a stray bullet or by nobody. You ain't gonna see that.
Right.
He said, they shall not bring forth for trouble. What else?
They are the seed of the blessed of the Lord, and their offspring is with them.
And their offspring with them. Go ahead.
And it shall come to pass that before they call, I will answer.
Before they call, you ain't even get a chance to call the Lord. You be getting ready to say, Lord, I think boom. Before they call, I will answer. Go ahead.
And while they are yet speaking, I will hear.
And while they yet speaking, I'm going to hear. That's good times, ain't it? Then you get to 25. Go ahead.
The wolf and the lamb shall feed together.
Hey, it won't be no type of harm being done to nobody. Just all good times. That's what he mean when he talks about pray thy kingdom come, because we talking about stuff like this coming. We should want this. People, no, they listen to the devil worried about trying to go to heaven. You ain't going to heaven. The wolf and the lamb shall feed together. Go ahead.
And the lion shall eat straw like the bullock.
And the lion shall eat straw like the bullock. Go ahead.
And dust shall be serpent's meat.
And dust shall be the serpent's meat. That means you ain't got to worry about no venomous snakes sneaking up and biting a kid, like when I was in Florida that time, and scared to let my son go because he said, oh, there's snakes out there in that grass. I'm like, okay, well, ain't no need him going playing out there.
Right.
But the snakes ain't going to be doing that at this time. Dust shall be the serpent's meat. Go ahead.
They shall not hurt.
Oh, but that's period.
Yep.
They should not hurt, or what?
Nor destroy in all my holy mountains, saith the Lord.
In all my holy mountains, saith the Lord. All right, one more place, and we're going to wrap it up. Isaiah 11. Isaiah 11. Isaiah 11. Same thing, but it's gonna hit. It's gonna hit a little home for. Pick it up at verse 6.
Isaiah 11 and verse 6. The wolf also shall dwell with the lamb.
See, it's the same time when Jesus come back and bring this peace to the earth. The wolf also shall dwell with the lamb. Go ahead.
And the leopard shall lie down with the kid.
And the leopard shall lie down with the kid. Go ahead.
And the calf and the young lion and the fatling together.
And the calf and the young lion and the fatling, they all hanging out together. No hurt or destruction with none of these animals. And what else?
And a little child shall lead them.
And a little child shall lead them. Little child. Can play with all of these animals. What he named? He named a leopard. He named a wolf. Little child might can mess with a lamb. Little kid of the goat. But he named some tough animals. He named a wolf.
And a young lion.
Calf and a young lion. Little child won't even be scared of him. Get over here. Smack the lion. He probably ain't gonna smack him because it might be out of place. But play with him though, you know.
Right.
And you read 7? Yeah, 7.
7. And the cow and the bear shall feed.
And the cow and the bear, a bear shall feed. Little child be able to mess around with a bear. Go ahead. But that's a cow and a bear shall feed. The bear not gonna eat the cow at this time. Go ahead.
Their young ones shall lie down together.
And what else?
And the lion shall eat straws like the ox.
See, this is the same time period, but go ahead.
And the sucking child shall play on the hole of the apps.
And a sucking child, a baby on breast milk. The sucking child shall play on the hole of the asp. That's a snake. That's a hole of a snake. Den where snakes are at. You ain't got to worry about letting your child go out in the front yard where snakes are at now. The sucking child will play on the hole of the asp. Go ahead.
And the weaned child shall put his hand on the cockatrice den.
On the cockatrice den. That's a snake's den.
Right.
You ain't got to worry about it. Why? One more time.
They shall not hurt nor destroy in all my holy
It's the
mountains.
same thing. They shall not hurt. Won't be no type of destruction. If we'd have read, should have read earlier in Isaiah 65, he said, well, we read that a child gonna die at 100 and all of that. So it's the same thing. They shall not hurt nor destroy. I don't know if we read it, but I was thinking about just now when he says that there should be no more dents and infinite days. I don't know if we read that or not. There should be no more dents and infinite days. In other words, a baby not going to die. So a snake can't kill a baby. Right. There ain't going to be no infinite days. There ain't going to be no sudden infant syndrome, none of that. Snakes won't kill a child. The sucking child shall play on the hole of the asp. The winged child shall put his hand on the cockatrice den. They shall not hurt nor destroy in all my holy mountain. Why?
For the earth shall be full of the knowledge of the Lord.
That's why. Go ahead.
As the waters cover the sea.
As the waters cover the sea. All right. So we're going to wrap it up on that note. I still didn't see nothing on.
I got one on YouTube that I skipped.
Oh, you skipped one?
I skipped him. He called me out too.
He called Jack.
Yeah.
Reheat on. Well, I got some on Facebook now. I guess they coming through. Sister Melinda, is it a sin to reheat already prepared food on the Sabbath? Question, is it a sin to reheat already cooked and prepared food in a microwave on the Sabbath? Mary, somebody else. We want to tell y'all we love y'all. Thank you for taking time out to clarify my concern about the Feast of Unleavened Bread. Praise the Lord. Oh, will the New Year's ball be streaming live? Peace and love. This is my prayer friend. Okay. All right, sis. I'm sure some of it will be live. Some will be live, huh? It's going to be difficult.
Yeah.
It's going to be hard to go live.
We don't need no more strikes. They try to hit us for that copyright infringement.
Oh, the copyright. Oh, yeah, when we had the music playing. Yeah, it's going to be difficult because YouTube, they be trying to, saying we using other, because we're going to be playing regular music, I'm sure, and they'll be saying, we using other people's stuff, and we just having a party. So it might be a little different. But I'm sure somebody going to go live. I'm sure there'll be plenty of pictures. So we'll let everybody do that on their own.
I think we got some filming going on.
We'll have something. So just stay tuned. But to the question, let's go to, this is Melinda. Is it a sin to reheat already prepared food on the Sabbath? And that means prepared, she means it's cooked and prepared. Is it a sin to microwave? And I'll just say it, we're going to read Exodus 16. I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't heat it at all. I wouldn't do it because, and you got to think about it. See, we try to take the easy way out. Some people say, well, the microwave is not really that much work. Well, no, a lot of stuff, it's not that you sweating to necessarily do the stuff, but it's still considered work. So I know it's considered work, but some people get paid for putting stuff in the microwave. Some people make money doing that. So that's called work, So, and it's just something you don't have to do when you got scripture like this here in Exodus 16. Exodus 16. And they didn't want to do it either. They didn't want to listen to the Lord. Exodus 16. Pick it up. Exodus 16. Yeah, Exodus 6. Yeah, you can pick it up in verse 22.
And it came to pass that on the sixth day they gathered twice as much bread, 2 omers for one man, and all the rulers of the congregation came and told Moses. And he said unto them, This is that which the Lord hath said. Tomorrow is the rest of the holy Sabbath unto the Lord. Bake that which ye will bake today, and seed that ye will seed.
So bake means to bake. Seed, that's the word that might be difficult. What does that mean? That means to boil. So the Lord said here at verse 23 to do it the day before. So, and he didn't give no instruction on redoing it. He tell you exactly what he wants you to do. Now you say, well, the microwave is really not that, but you can